Hi everyone, welcome back. So last class we discussed about components of a program. This we discussed about identifier and literals. Today we are going to discuss about the data types. Okay, very important one. Whenever you write the program, this data type you should mention. That is, which type of data we are using in that particular program, that we have to mention in the program. Okay, for that purpose we are using this data types. Okay, data. So different types of data are available. If I just want to write a name, okay, I just write a name Anu. It's a data, isn't it? If I give a particular value, this one also data, isn't it? Isn't it? So literals we already discussed, that is, this one is a string literal and this one, if you write, this is an integer literal. And if I wrote here 5.2, this one is a floating point, otherwise real literal, isn't it? So here such like that ways different types of data are available and different types of data we have to use while writing a program. So if such situations, how the system can identify whether it is a character or a string literal, otherwise whether it is a integer literal or real literal, whether I can multiply this particular string literal with this one integer literal, it's not possible. Whether I can give an operator plus operator with this, whether computer can find out the result for this particular operation? No, it's not possible. So some operations, for performing some operations, we have to specify the data in a different types. For a particular type of data only we can perform some operations. For specifying such situations, for specifying the data how we can use in a particular operation, we are using this data types. Okay, so if we are using this 12 integer data, you can use that particular data for addition, subtraction, multiplication, otherwise to find a division process. So all such operations you can use this particular data, isn't it? So this one also you can use for these all purposes, isn't it? So for specifying such a type, which type of data, for which all operations we can use such a data, we have to specify the data type. Some built-in data types are there in Java program. Clear? So here page number 86 you can see last line, last two star points you can see. So data types are predefined keywords. Okay, data types. Now we are going to discuss different data types that are available. So that data types we can call it the keywords. Okay, built-in or predefined keywords, that is Java who created that programming language, they created such words. So while using as an identifier, don't use such a keywords as an identifier. Okay, and programming language that do the following, that is identify the type of the data. We are using this data type to identify the type of the data and associated valid operations on it, which all operations we can perform according to that data. For specifying these two things we are using this data types. Okay, so now moving to the data types, different data types that are available in Java, that are mainly 4 data types we are discussing here. Java valid data types, very important one, sure question. Okay, Java valid 4 data types mainly, that is, first one is int, okay, second one is float, third one char, fourth one string. Okay, so these are the main 4 data types in Java program. Int, int, we can call it as int data type, float, char, char data type, string data type. Okay, first of all we can look on int data type. Another one more subsection for int data type is there, that is long. This one also a data type, you can use long. Okay, under this int data type one more category is there, that is long data type also. Okay, so this data type we are using to specify the integer values or integer numbers. Integer numbers means that I already told you, without decimal point, if any number if we are using, that numbers we can call it as a integer number. So for specifying such data we are using this data type, that is int data type. Okay, that is 12, 124, 36, either positive or negative, both you can use, negative or positive or negative, whatever it is you can use. So these all are the examples of int data type, and we can use these data for the arithmetical operations such as addition, subtraction, division, multiplication and finding the remainder also you can use this one. Okay, int data type. And the next long comes under in this category, int data type. Long means if it is a too long integer number, 1000, millions, like that way number, if it is, you can use this for storing such a type of data types or data, you can use this long data type. Okay, and the next one is float data type, that I already told you. Float means floating point. If the number is a decimal point, containing the decimal point, such data we can store with a data type of float. Okay, that is 12.5, 6.2, either it is positive or negative you can. And here also if it is a too big or long floating point number, if you want to save, you can use another data type called double. Okay, if it is a lengthy decimal point, if it is, you can use the data type double. Okay, how to use this data type and all we can study later. Now you just study what are the data types in a Java program. Okay, so int, float, int, you can see long also. If it is a lengthy one, you can use long, and if it is a floating point, if it is a lengthy one, you can use the data type double. And the next one is char. From that word itself it's clear, char, character. If it is a single character, you have to store that particular such type of data, you can use this data type char. Okay, so here you can see support single letter values only you can use, and you have to enclose it in a single quotes. So if you are specifying a single letter, that you should enclose in a single quotes. Okay, so like that way you have to mention the data if it is a char data type. And you can see, you can enclose anything, an alphabet, digit, symbol, in a single quote will become a character. Okay, anything, not only this alphabet, you can inside the single quote you can specify the numbers also, no problem, you can specify the numbers also. But one thing, that is you should write only one character. Okay, so that is our char data type. And the last data type is string. That is, if it is a word like, if you are mentioning any data in a double quotes, it will be treated as a string data type. This type of data you can call string data type. Okay, either alphabets or numbers or combination of both you can specify inside the double quotes. Okay, so such a type of data comes under in this data type, string data type. So one thing is that this one, the string data type, we can't use this particular data, we can't use for an arithmetic operation. Whether we can use this type of data for arithmetic, addition, subtraction and all, no, it's not possible. But one operation we will study later, that is concatenation operation. Don't bother about it, that we will study later. Okay, so this much things only you have to bother, you have to study, that is, these are the data types: int, float, char, string. Okay, int for integer values, float for decimal point values, char for a single character enclosed in a single quote. Then last one is string, a word or a combination or a one or more words. If it is enclosed in a double quote, it will be treated as a string data type. Hope you all clear this data type. Okay, moving to the next one is variable. So in mathematics you already studied what this variables means, isn't it? For storing a particular value, before that we are specifying a alphabet. That is known as alphabet, or a word you will specify. That is known as variables. That is, variables means, if we find out in mathematics and all, for storing a particular value, if it is a value, if you want to store a particular value, you will give a particular name to it, isn't it? Normally in maths and all you are writing. So this particular name that we are using for storing a value, that is known as variable. Okay, so here which one is the variable here? B is the variable, and the value given to B is 5. Okay, and that particular variable you should mention the data type. Here which type of data we are storing? Integer type data we are storing in this particular variable B. So what will be the data type of this one? Here we use which data? 5. It's an integer value, so the data type is int. Okay, got it? So while if we are denoting or declaring a variable in a Java program, one syntax is there. Okay, the syntax is, first of all you should specify the data type. After that, where you are going to store that particular data, that means variable, isn't it? So that variable name you should mention. After that you can just put the semicolon. It's compulsory, you should put the semicolon. Semicolon means one dot and comma. Okay, it's very compulsory to put semicolon finally, last of the sentence. Okay, so this is the way to declare a variable in a Java program. Declare a variable means we are allocating memory to store a particular value in a computer system. Got it? That means here I gave the value 5 to this particular variable B, which means in a computer computer memory, we are allocating a space and we are giving a name to that particular memory B, and we are storing this value 5 inside that memory location. Okay, clear? Like the phone gallery, you are saving the pics with a name, isn't it? If you open the gallery of your mobile, you can see box like that. All the pictures will be there, and each picture will having some name will be there. While sending and all, you can see that particular name. Okay, randomly they are generating the name. So if we are creating a program, we have to specify the memory location. Memory location the system will allocate, but for finding the location we are giving a name for easily. If we want to search that memory location, we are specifying the name. For that purpose we are using this variables, and inside that memory location we are saving that particular value. Okay, and the next if you want to create a value with a okay, so here you can see this is a which type data, that is string. Double inverted comma we specify, quotation mark we specify. So this one is a, you can say this one is a string data type. So you have to declare the variable name. Here the variable name is name. Okay, so while declaring the variable you should mention the data type string, name equal to Anu. If it is not needed, you no need to specify the value. Only this, in this way also you can specify, and down you can give name equal to Anu. Here also this one is semicolon. Got it? So what will happen? In the computer memory, it will create a memory with the name name. And what will be the value for that name? We give Anu. So that value it will write inside here in this memory location. Hope you all clear how to create a variable or declare a variable in a Java program. Okay, the first step is read the or declare the variable in a Java program. So while writing a program or while writing an algorithm, I already told you, after the start, the second step will be what all memory locations we need to store the particular data. That memory locations we have to read. Okay, so to find out the perimeter, I told you length, breadth and p needed, isn't it? So here just to see, for finding the perimeter part, we need length, breadth, perimeter. So while writing the algorithm, we wrote read LBP as a step 2. So if you are converting this particular algorithm into a program, we have to write, first of all, declare read. This step you should write in a programming language, that is LBP. Whether L is in a integer type or floating type, if the values is like 2, 5, that means it's an integer value. This one is an integer value, and after final product also will be an integer value. You can write like that. So you can mention int L comma B comma P semicolon. So what will happen? In our memory there will create a memory locations, 3 memory locations, and will give the value particular memory location name L B P. Got it? And down to here, if you wrote L equal to 2 semicolon, what will happen? This particular 2 will be stored in this memory location. Okay, and again if you write p equal to 5, what will happen in this memory location? It will write this, store this value 5. Okay, after that, if it is p, if you find out the result, what will happen? That particular result will be stored in this memory location. Here it will be stored. Got it? So this is the process you have to write up when you are start writing a program. Hope you all clear how to write, how to declare a variable in a Java program. So while giving here names, that is L, B, P, these all are the identifiers, and this one is the data type. So while giving the identifiers, whether we can specify this one as a starting, whether we can give this underscore, or otherwise here we can use any other symbol. No. So while giving the identifiers, that is here the names for the variables, if we are giving, you should be careful that particular 5 that rules we discussed for the identifier, that you have to keep in your mind, and according to that only you have to create here the names or the variables. Otherwise you can say this one all are the identifiers. Okay, and finally in all the statements means all the lines, if you are writing, wherever it is, you should write this semi, you should put this semicolon. Don't forget it. Okay, so this is the main thing, first step you should write while writing a Java program. Clear? So we are discussing the components of a program, that is first one is identifier and the second one literals, and in between for specifying the literal we discussed about the data types, and after that we discussed variables, and the next one is operators. Okay, operators. What do you mean by operators? Operators you all know, mathematics and all, you discuss some operators, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. These are only the operators you know. Then one more operator is there in computer, that is mode operator, otherwise modulus operator. Okay, so algorithm and flowchart session I told you, we discussed about this operator, mode operator or modulus operator, which we are using to find out the remainder of a number. Okay, so here operators, that means operators means addition, subtraction. Here the symbol we are using for the multiplication is this star symbol, and the slash symbol we are using for the operation division operation. We are using the operator slash symbol, and the last one is mode operator, that is we are using this percentage symbol for denoting the mode operator or modulus operator. Okay, and what do you mean by operands? That is, if you are doing an operation with the operator addition, here you have to specify the two variables, isn't it? So these two are known as operands. Okay, operands. So here definition given here in your textbook, page number 89. The operations are represented by operators, and the objects of the operation are referred to as operands. Okay, so the values what we are using in an operation, that is known as, other than the operators what we are using, that is known as operands. Got it? And next we are in detail we are discussing about arithmetic operators, that is these all are the arithmetic operators. Okay, so normally for an operation, arithmetic operations, normally we need two operands, isn't it? Normally here we are using the arithmetic operators, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and modulus and all. Apart from this, Java provides unary arithmetic operators. Okay, unary arithmetic operators. Here you can see two operands, so that you can call this one as a binary operators. Okay, binary operators. Apart from this, if you are using one operand and one operator, that is known as unary operators. Okay, unary operators are of two types, that is unary plus and unary minus. Okay, which means, through example I will show you unary operators. Two operators, unary plus and unary minus. Unary plus means if we are writing a equal to 5, normally we will write a equal to 5 for storing the value, isn't it? Instead of that, simply while doing an operation you can specify simply plus a. Okay, while doing an operation you can specify plus a, which means a means 5 itself. The value 5 will be taken for that calculation. Okay, and if it is a equal to 0, if you are writing in an operation plus a, it will take the value, instead of a it will take the 0 in that position. Okay, and minus, here one change, if a equal to 5 itself, and if while doing the operation, that is a plus b or any operation if we are doing, instead of a if we are giving minus a, instead of a here you will get the result minus 5. It will be treated as a minus 5. Okay, and if it is a equal to 0 itself, 0, no positive and negative, so if you mention minus a, 0 itself it will be. Okay, clear? Hope you are clear this one. That is minus a minus 5. That is, here we are giving the minus symbol, that is subtraction symbol if we are giving, which means this particular value will be treated as a negative number, and if it is a positive one, positive itself. Got it? Okay, so this is about unary operators, and the next one is we are discussing about the binary operators. That you all know, binary operators means two operands. If we are using such operations, we are calling it as a binary operators. Okay, so first take your textbook, then it will be clear for you very easily. Page number 90. First one is addition operator, the symbol given here, that plus symbol given here, and you can just look on the example 40 plus 20, then what will be the result? Normal addition itself, 24, a plus 5, that means a plus 5. So when a equal to 2, here given a equal to 2, so instead of a it will take 2. Max you already studied these all things, I think. Okay, 2 plus 5, that is you got 7. Okay, normal addition itself. And the second one, subtraction operator, that is 14 minus 3, how much? 11 you got. A minus b evaluates to 2. If a equal to 7 and b equal to 5, it is a equal to 7 and b equal to 5, then what will be the result? 7 minus 5, you got the result 2. Normal subtraction itself. Multiplication means normal multiplication. Division also same way itself. Division, after dividing you have to keep that particular answer in the quotient you have to keep. Okay, that is the result, the quotient. Okay, so that is the division. Then last one is modulus operator, that I already told you. Modulus operator means what will be the remainder, that become the answer. Final result will be that remainder. Okay, so here if a equal to 5, b equal to 2, a mod b, what will be the result? A means 5. 5 divided by 2. Then 2 into 2, you got 4, and you got the remainder here 1. So here a mod b, the final result will become 1. If it is a by b, a by b means a slash b, that means division. This one's result become this quotient 2, and this one is the remainder. Got it? Clear the difference between the division and mod operator? Okay. And next Next topic, that is operator plus with string. That is, I already told you, if you are using the data with the data type string, that means double quotes. That now only we studied 5 plus 2. What will be the answer here if we are doing 5, 6, 7. So the result, it's very clear for you. It's 7 only, isn't it? That is addition operator. Two operands we add together and we got the result. And if we are specifying this double quotes, 5 plus 2, what will be the result? That is, while discussing the data type string, I told you whatever we are writing in double quotes, it will be treated as a string. So strings, whether we can use for a calculation purpose? No, it's not possible to use it as for a calculation purpose. Okay, so here if you see this plus operator, in between the strings, it will be append the strings. Append means, or we are doing the concatenation of strings. That means just join. This final output will be join. The first string is 5 and the second string is 2. So we will join this one together and the final result is 5, 2. Okay. And if we write one normal integer value data and another one if we wrote with double quotes, this one is a string data type and this one is an integer data type, then what will happen if we are using this plus symbol in between? Here also we can't add both these two values because one is a string value, isn't it? So here also we will append the strings, or we will do the concatenation. That means the final result will become 5, 2 itself. Got it? So this is the plus operator with the strings means. Okay, normal addition and with the strings, both are different. Be careful. Okay. So next one is relational operators. Okay, very important one. Relational operators. Okay, here mainly 6 relational operators are there. These relational operators normally we are using for the conditional statements. Okay, that means to take the decision whether it is a true or false. Okay, the final result of an operation using relational operators will be either true or false. Okay, so here if we are using this arithmetic operator, what will be the result? A specific result will be there, isn't it? Instead of that, this arithmetic operator, we will get an output either true or false. That is Boolean value output. Boolean values means true or false, either true or false. Okay, that only we will get as an output if we are using the relational operators. The 6 relational operators are less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to. Okay, the symbols are less than or equal to, it's another relational operator. Greater than or equal to operator, then equal to, then the last one is not equal to, with an exclamatory symbol, then equal to, which means not equal to. Okay, through an example I will show you, it will be clear for you. That is 2 less than 5. What will be the output? You will get the result as an Boolean value, that is either true or false. That is, in this case you will write here true. Okay, this is a relational operator. Okay, the next one is less than or equal to. Less than or equal to. So if I wrote here 2 less than or equal to 2, what will be the result? Or, that is either it will be a less than, otherwise if it is equal. In both the case, if it is satisfied, you will get the output true. So here less than, no, equal to, it's satisfied. So you can write down here true. If I write here 2, 1, what will be the result? 2 less than or equal to 1. Less than, it's not satisfied, equal to, not satisfied. So what will this condition become? False. In total, this condition was false. Got it? In the same way itself, greater than, if you write this particular 2 greater than 5, what will be? Whether it is true or false? False only. 2 greater than 5 is false. You will get the output false. If you write 2 greater than or equal to 5, whether it is true or false? It's false itself. If you write 5 greater than or equal to 2, whether it is correct? Yes, 5 is greater than 2. Otherwise 5 equal to is not correct. But anyway, one condition is satisfied here. So you can write down here true. Okay, then equal to, which means what? What is the difference between equal to and equal to? Double equal to if it is. This equal to, you can call it as a assignment operator. That means if you write here a equal to 2, which means we are assigning this value to this particular variable a. And we can use this a in different operations, isn't it? Equal to means we are checking whether both the side values are equal. That means if 2 equal to 2, it's checking. That is, the side left hand and right hand values are equal. Then if it is true, you can write down here true. Otherwise you will write it as a false. If we are using here assignment operator, which means we are assigning this particular value to this variable. Okay, so see the difference, very important question. Okay, difference between equal to and double equal to. Okay, and the last one is not equal to. That is, if 2 is not equal to 3, whether this condition is true or false. 2 is not equal to 3. Yes, correct. It's not equal to 3, isn't it? So you can write down here true. Next one, if 3 is not equal to 3, whether it is not equal to 3, no, it's equal to 3. Equal to, opposite, here not equal to. Okay, so both sides are same. So you can write down this statement is false. Got it? Clear, all of you, what this relational operators means. Hope you all clear this relational operators. Okay, and one more thing, in your textbook, logical operators, one topic is there. Just skip that one. Okay, it will make you confused more. So that operator we can learn in the next year. Okay, that is 9th grade. You can detail you can study. Otherwise, with all these operators, you may get confused with all. Okay, so according to this, till this much operators we can use and we can write the program. I think it will be good for you. That's why. Okay, so logical operators, that topic you can just cut off. Okay, till page number 94. From page number 93 to 94 you can cut off. And in page number 95 you can see assignment operator, that you have to study. Okay, put a tick mark on assignment operator, and also Java shorthand operators. That topic also you can cut down in page number 95. Clear everyone? Once again, page number 93 and 94 just cut out. That topic we can discuss in next grade. And page number 95, Java shorthand operators, that one also you can cut out. Okay. Then assignment operator, it's very important one. Put tick mark on assignment operator and you have to learn it. Got it? So these all for today's class. Read the lesson and each and every examples you should read. and just to try to do it on a rough book, okay, and only it will be clear for you, okay. So thank you, have a nice day.